Hey everyone, welcome back to Inspiroue. Today we're diving into We Are Tala's ethics and sustainability. A ton of you asked me what my thoughts were on them in my Sustainable Brands to Know video, and I thought, wouldn't it be a fun video to go through my entire process with you when I'm trying to figure out if a brand is performative and greenwashing or if they're worth supporting? A ton of this is going to be based on my How to Assess a Brand Sustainability video. I have a full checklist on certifications to look for ethical labor and better fabrics and dyeing standards, so I highly recommend watching that. But in today's video, we're basically going to look at 5 areas. So first, ethical labor. Second is sustainability, which breaks down further into fabrics and dyes, their production scale and how much they produce, and then end of life, so what happens after a consumer is done with them. And then lastly, we'll look at their diversity and inclusion. So this includes everything with racial equity in the Black Lives Matter movement happening right now, and also with plus size and extended sizing in the sustainable fashion industry. I feel like even just in the fashion industry, that is something that we need to continue to push for. Please leave a like if you want more videos like this, and comment down below if you think I should make this into a series. I feel like it'd be really fun. And if so, if there are any brands that you'd want me to do next. If you're new here, please subscribe, hit that notification bell. It would mean the world to me. And please follow me over on Instagram. It's at inspiroue. I'm told that I should say that in the beginning of my videos. So with that, let's get into it. From what I see based on their website and their Instagram, We Are Tala prides themselves in being a sustainable, ethical, inclusive, and affordable activewear brand. And I don't often hear sustainability and affordability in the same sentence because this stuff is expensive, okay? Like, sustainable fashion is expensive. So I'm really interested to learn more about that. I also know that this is a brand created by Grace, who is a fitness YouTuber. And I honestly, I used to watch her vlogs. She's such a sweet human being, you know? So it's cool that she kind of broke away from that to create this label. Okay, so let's look at their website. So they're saying all the right things, and they have all of these accreditations on here too, which is cool. You think, all right, they pride themselves in being a sustainable brand, so let's dive in further. First thing to check off is, are they ethical? Do they produce ethically? I think ethical labor should be bare minimum. Like, the fact that it still is something that we need to look for is crazy to me, but that's why it's ranked first in this checklist. They have this hashtag It's Cool to Be Kind page, which I'm pretty sure is just their sustainability page. And when I search ethics or ethical, it's in 2 spots. And they say they have ethical values, and their factory groups have been audited by SEDEX, which checks the whole business on 4 pillars of labor, health and safety, environment, and business ethics. And these audits take place every 3 years. And they're paid at least the minimum of industry standard wage. What I have questions about is, everything with the auditing seems pretty standard. At least the minimum of industry standard wage. The industry standard is very low. I don't think that means a living wage. So in that case, I would hope that they can improve that to guarantee that the workers were paid living wages. Industry standard could still mean very low because many in the industry don't pay enough. Let's leave that for later, and then I'll dig into SEDEX a bit more. I know it just got very dark. I like to go to the Sustainable Fashion Toolkit. It's basically something that Fashion Takes Action, which is a Toronto-based NGO, put together, and it's a very extensive list of resources, and I do a lot of my learning here. And I'm glad to see that they have this. So they wrote here that it is one of the leading social and ethical audit methodologies around the world. SEDEX is the knowledge, it's like the data exchange platform. And then they have SMETA, which is the SEDEX members ethical trade audit. And that is the auditing framework that auditors follow in order to perform a consistent audit and to check on multiple things to make sure that they are comprehensively assessing everything in terms of ethics and the supply chain, what's happening, you know what I mean? Next is sustainability. So we're looking at the fabrics they use, their dyeing process, and the end of life. So once a consumer is done wearing it, what happens to it? It says here that they work with clever materials like QNova, which is regenerated raw materials, and RecoverTex, which rescues plastic bottles from the ocean and turns them into new sustainable wares. at the end of the day, it's still going to the landfill. So what we're doing here is we're just prolonging the process of items ending up in the landfills because it's using old clothes, which is great. It's a good step in the right direction, but it's not sustainable because once people are done with it, it's still gonna go into a landfill. And because it's still made out of synthetics, it's made out of nylon and elastane, it doesn't break down. So when we're thinking about that, this is still contributing to waste. So one of the things I like to do when I'm looking at a brand is I'll search We Are Tala Sustainability. This one specifically from Euronews. I was reading through this and I wanted to figure out why it's more affordable. And she said here that they made small compromises in order to make their prices more affordable. So in terms of the materials they're using, they were literally able to halve the price, which is a red flag for me, to be honest. So some of their products are 92% upcycle instead of 94, which means they can price them at around 40 pounds or 40 euros versus 80 euros. I do like the intention behind that, where they're trying to make sustainability more affordable and accessible with a lower price tag. You can obviously offer more sustainability-minded options and conscious options, but in terms of claiming that you're offering sustainability at an affordable price, I definitely don't think that's the case. The fact that they have to mix in virgin fabrics, that itself isn't sustainable, right? You're still mixing in new fiber. But I feel like in the activewear industry, if you're looking at like Girlfriend or Organic Basics or Tala, all of them mix in elastane or spandex because you need that stretchiness. So specific to activewear, I think that this is okay because it's still like the best option compared to everything else right now. In terms of dyes, I'd love to hear more about their dyeing process. They don't really talk about it at all. The only thing related to the dyeing is their Ecotech certification, which I'm sure they just pulled these off of the QNova site. So whatever their supplier, in this case QNova, has certified, they put on their site if that's one of the main suppliers that they use. And then when we're looking at their production scale, that's the other thing. From what I'm hearing is they sell out often, which I'm hoping means that they don't produce really high quantities, because a lot of you said like a lot of their stuff just sells out really quickly, which is good. I'd love to hear more about that. They have 234 products, which is a lot, I would say, for a brand that's using recycled synthetic fibers without a recycling system at the end of its life. So when I'm talking about this, I want to use Girlfriend as an example. They're my favorite activewear brand in terms of what they're doing with sustainability and how much transparency they offer around their entire production process too. And even with inclusiveness and diversity, I feel like they're doing so much. Their Girlfriend program, I think, is paving the way in terms of what activewear brand should be doing. We already know that with activewear, you basically need to use a recycled polyester or a recycled nylon. I haven't really seen any other alternatives that perform well. We can't really get activewear made out of 100% natural fibers that are going to compost, right? So when we're using synthetics, the issue is at the end of the day, like I mentioned, it still goes into the landfills and then it sits there because it can't break down. The Girlfriend program, they take back old leggings and they can fully recycle and reuse the polyester. So Girlfriend leggings are made out of recycled polyester and a blend of spandex. The spandex part can't be recycled right now, so that is the caveat there. But I like that they designed their leggings from the get-go to be recycled. So a lot of brands, when they're using cheaper recycled fibers or upcycled fibers, like I wonder if QNova is a fiber that can be recycled and reused again, or if it ends up being downcycled, or if it breaks down because it isn't to that quality of a standard where it can be continuously recycled, because a lot of the cheaper fabrics that are recycled can only be recycled once, or twice if you blend in virgin fibers with it, if that makes sense. And that's something I always wondered too, but with the Breed Girlfriend program, I was like, okay, if Girlfriend can do this and use a recycled polyester that is that high quality enough that it can continuously be broken down, why aren't other brands doing it? So that's my one thing with Tala. If they had a recycling program, then I feel like making like 200 products isn't that big of a deal. The only other thing I would look for is if they could just sell based on pre-order instead. If so many people have demand for it anyway. It seems like they have some styles that aren't in high demand and others that are, where I'm sure they have excess inventory in this case. So that's what I think about the sustainability so far. Again, there's no clear-cut answers. Lastly is diversity and inclusion. So we know from their marketing that this is one of their pillars, right? They care about inclusion. So I scroll down all the way to their first post to see if they've consistently used diverse models in terms of race, in terms of body size, and I think they do a pretty good job from the get-go. I was so surprised to even see someone with a disability in their first photo shoots, because I feel like there's a huge group of consumers that are overlooked in the activewear industry. And then in terms of BLM, they posted about it and I even read some comments. It would have been great if they donated something to support. They kind of just posted a link and were like, please donate, and like, this is important. So I feel like that's something they could have done better. They also pulled up, so that was another campaign going around, is pull up or shut up. It was cool to see that in terms of the models they hired 59% people of color and 46% of whom are Black, which is 46% of the 59%. So around, what, 25% of their models were Black, and I think that's great. In terms of their team, they had 25% Black people in their manager roles, and that their team was 17% Black. I think that's more than a lot of people, and it's cool that they committed to even more diversity in their hires. One of the comments said that it would be great to see more diversity in their Instagram stories when their team was at factories or doing these behind the scenes stuff, which I think is a good call out. So I hope that they do that more and commit to that in the future, because that is an issue if every time they're talking about behind the scenes stuff, or if a lot of their stories of their like production processes are mostly white people when they shared all this stuff. And then the last thing is plus sizes and extended sizes. So they go from an extra small to an extra large. It would be great to see them offer more extended sizing, considering they pride themselves in inclusion being a core pillar for them and their business, because extra large is like nothing close. From looking at comments on their Instagram page, some people have already asked for this and have continued to push for this, but they don't have they haven't responded to these comments. I'm sure they're busy. But it would be cool to see them like commit to it, or talk about whether that's in their future plan or if it's on their roadmap. I know that they started out last year or the year before, so they're a pretty new brand, but if you are able to produce 224 styles, I feel like you have the bandwidth to invest in offering more extended sizing. My final thoughts. I think in terms of what they're doing compared to the normal workout wear industry, they've obviously committed to doing better than most. But when it comes to sustainability, I don't know if that's enough. I don't know if it's enough to be better than a industry that was really bad to begin with. Would I support them over Girlfriend Collective? No, I feel like Girlfriend is doing so much more in these areas. Do I think that they can continue to grow and continue to improve these processes? Yeah, I feel like in sustainability, obviously it means something good, and they are impacting good by offering these things. But I say that very cautiously, because I think it's so important for all consumers right now to, if we're gonna buy stuff, obviously buy less, but also to buy something that we know at the end of its life is either going to fully break down and go back into the planet really quickly, or it can be continuously recycled or upcycled. I'm sure because sustainability is becoming the new it thing, that more brands are going to come out and produce like new stuff, right? But the issue at the end of the day is we have so much stuff. So I feel like we need to start asking brands to think more about the end of life of garments and what happens to a Tala legging after someone is done wearing it. Like, are they just gonna donate it to the thrift store, and then is it gonna eventually still end up in a landfill where it won't break down because it's made out of synthetic fibers? Obviously, different brands have different styles and different product offerings, and when I say that Girlfriend like is my favorite go-to activewear brand that I'm gonna support, obviously Girlfriend, like, they probably don't make this like sweatsuit combo, right? So in that case, if you're really wanting a sweatsuit combo, it's probably better to buy it from Tala when it's made out of 100% recycled cotton and made ethically than going to a fast fashion brand or something, right? So it's like, so that's how I feel about Tala. And I'm not here to cancel any brands. I'm not here to tell you what brands to support or not support. I'm just giving you an honest, unbiased view with my thoughts and with the info that they have or they don't have. I feel like there's this underlying conversation of how brands that aren't thinking about a truly circular like economy and life cycle and the end of a life of a garment can't claim sustainability, and that doesn't just mean Tala, it means everybody in this industry. So that isn't aimed towards them specifically, but I think it's something that we need to think about as consumers. I wish I had a more clear-cut answer for you, but I hope that what comes out of this video is that there isn't a black and white answer, you know? There's always something that's unsustainable about something, especially when you're buying a product, you know what I mean? Because you're buying something, and that's why it's not that clear. There isn't any perfectly sustainable brand, and if you came to this video expecting a very clear-cut answer, I'm sorry. I feel like when we're talking about sustainability, that isn't the case right now, unless you're just buying nothing. That I think is what's truly sustainable right now, to be honest with you. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it helpful and learned something from it. Please leave a like if you enjoyed. Comment down below, let me know if you want this to be a series and what you thought of it, what you thought of anything that I talked about in this process. And if you'd like to support future videos and resources on sustainability like this one, I created a PayPal donation link below, just if you have some spare change lying around that would otherwise go to a latte or a coffee or something. These videos take me a ton of time and research to make, and I'm trying to keep this channel as brand free as possible, so I'd really appreciate it. But I also appreciate any type of support you can give. Every like, comment, and subscribe also means the world to me. And I love you guys so much. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe, hit that notification bell. If you haven't followed me on Instagram yet, please do. It's at inspiroue. It would mean so much to me. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you so much. Love you. Bye.